Greetings, everyone. Hope all of you are having an absolutely fantastic day. Recently, I got an email from a developer called the Atom team, and they wanted to make sure I was aware that they are working on a new isometric cRPG called Swordhaven, Iron Conspiracy. There's a Kickstarter for this game, and they have a 4-hour demo available on Steam. Now, this developer is famous for creating Atom RPG, a title that is heavily based on the classic Infinity Engine Fallout games from many years ago. I never played Atom RPG, but multiple people on this channel told me that it was fantastic and a game that I should definitely check out at some point. And because of that, I was more than willing to go ahead and check out Swordhaven. I played about 2 or 3 hours of the 4-hour demo, and I decided I like it enough to go ahead and do a video on it so that more of you are aware that it's coming and will hopefully support if you feel moved. Again, Swordhaven Iron Conspiracy is an isometric cRPG, and it's absolutely inspired by classic Infinity Engine titles such as Baldur's Gate 1, Icewind Dale, etc., etc. In this game, you take up the mantle of an adventurer who's on their way to a land called Nova Draconia. While sailing on the ship towards Nova Draconia, you are met by a dying man who entrusts you with a peculiar artifact and asks you to deliver it, telling you that the world is depending upon this being done. Completing this quest pulls you into a plot that, according to the Atom team, will threaten everything you've ever known and loved. So usually when I do these type of videos, I start with what I like about the game, and then I get into what I dislike regarding it. This time we're going to do it in the opposite order because this is a demo. It's not even a beta. So obviously there's going to be a ton of things wrong, a ton of things that need to be better. So we might as well go ahead and get those out of the way before we dig into what I really like about the overall game. So, to state the obvious, the graphics definitely need to be better. Hopefully that's something they're going to continue to work on up to the release. Again, I never played Atom, so I have no idea how that game looked. And I know this is a small indie developer, so I'm not sure what kind of graphics we can really expect, but definitely would expect something better than this. Currently, there's a ton of conversations and dialogue, but absolutely no voice acting. And considering the amount of text in this game, it would definitely be nice if there was voice acting in there. So it'll be interesting to see if they add that. I did get introduced to one party member, and the dialogue between us felt very sparse. The game didn't give a whole lot of background about who this character is and what our motivation is. It's basically like, oh, we're going in the same direction, so we might as well travel together. So it'll be interesting to see in the full game if when you hire certain companions, you'll be able to get more background and a more compelling reason for why you all are traveling together. And then finally, just all the way around, it does feel like a demo. It feels kind of sparse, doesn't feel fleshed out the way you would expect a full game to be. So you should be aware of that going in. Now, with all of that out the way, let's talk about what I like about the game. And there's actually quite a bit. I think the best way to do this is to go through the character creation system. And I'm actually really impressed with the options they provide in character creation. So obviously it starts with you selecting a new game. You can choose your sex. So I'll go ahead and just choose a male. And then you can choose your background. Now, right now they only have 2 options, noble or bandit. Hopefully in the full game, they'll give you more options, but this is not a choice between good and evil. I played as a noble and I got a ton of intimidation options that made it clear I felt like everyone around me was a peasant. I could literally slap a couple of them around because I didn't like the questions that they asked or the way that they spoke to me. Like, you can have a really brutal playthrough as a noble. And I thought that was super cool. It really allowed you to lean into being a tyrant. And I feel very confident if you played a bandit, you could do exactly the same thing. In fact, I'll try to do a playthrough as a bandit when they do another update of this game and see if it's possible to play as like a good-natured bandit Robin Hood type of character. That'd be really a lot of fun. But in addition to the role-playing opportunities both of these backgrounds provide you. They also give you bonuses to specific skills. So all the way around, it's going to really help you to lean into a specific play style. Now, once you've chose your background, you can then decide your attributes. Now, the list is going to look very familiar, but the way they actually interact with the game is a little bit different. So with strength, it's going to govern carry weight and melee and unarmed damage, and it's also going to slightly increase health and stamina, but then it's also going to give you intimidation and dialogue. And then next you have attention, which governs your accuracy overall in combat. And obviously, it's going to let you notice details that you might overlook, so perception essentially. But it's going to allow you to do this both in the game world and in dialogue. So very nice to have all the way around. Endurance, obviously, Constitution is going to govern your maximum health, stamina, and resistance against negative effects, as well as your natural damage threshold, which is all going to depend on the stat. Now, next is personality, which affects your speech crafts. So persuasion in this game is actually split up kind of in 4 different skills. You've got persuasion, you've got bluff, you got haggling, and then obviously you have intimidation, but it's not governed by personality. It's governed by strength, and I think one other attribute that you can increase, endurance as well. So they kind of split it off from that. So you can be someone who has very, very low personality, but due to your overall physical capability, you're still very capable of intimidating other people, which I think is super cool and really opens up your ability to craft certain characters who are still competent in conversations in a very interesting way. So really looking forward to potentially doing that type of playthrough. And then you have intellect, which obviously, just like other games, is going to help with your skill points. But in this game, it also helps with your ability to conversate. So your ability to persuade and to bluff is actually governed by your intellect. Again, I think that's super cool, super unusual in games like D&D and Pathfinder. Being intelligent does not make you more competent in conversations. So definitely like seeing that here. And then with dexterity, of course, it's going to give you more dodge. I haven't seen anywhere what sequence means, so I'm not sure what that's supposed to govern. But dexterity allows you to dodge blows. It also gives you accuracy in melee combat, so both strength and dexterity can help you in melee. And obviously, all of these attributes give you a bunch of bonuses in specific skills as well. And then finally, you do have a luck attribute, which governs your success in many endeavors, from dealing and receiving armor-piercing blows to dodge, and the odds of causing maximum weapon damage, along with your ability to pierce armor. So really cool stuff all the way around. I think even though this is the actual list of attributes is something you're used to seeing, the way that they actually interact with the game world, I felt like was very interesting, and I'm looking forward to playing around with this list. Another cool thing that I like is that you're free to dump these stats and then increase them how you see fit. The max you can increase is 11, but after playing so much Baldur's Gate 3, it's really nice to be in a game where I can min-max if I so choose and really hardcore dump a stat if that's what I want to do. So all the way around, this is a system I'm looking forward to playing with. Once you have all your attributes in, then you can look at your skills. So obviously, it's a very well-rounded list here. You've got a bunch of different options for how you want to approach melee combat, a couple of different options for how you want to approach conversations. You can also focus on haggling. There are a ton of haggling conversation options. So it's not like most games where having a high haggling rate is just going to automatically give you better prices with a particular vendor. In this game, when you're talking to a vendor, you're going to get a haggle dialogue option, basically saying, hey, why don't you cut me a deal, or you should give me a discount. And then your haggle rating will decide whether or not that vendor is willing to give you a discount. I like that more. It feels more real, and it's really cool seeing some of the responses, because obviously sometimes these vendors are not happy about being even asked to give a discount. Outdoorsmanship is going to impact you when you're out and about to avoid combat and increase your travel speed and carry capacity. So it's a great way to make things a little bit easier for you. Stealth, of course, is fantastic to have depending upon your play style. Again, if you look on the right, you'll see that at different levels, it'll give you different buffs. And the first one is a +1 to sequence if combat was started from stealth. I still have no idea what sequence is, so hopefully they add some sort of glossary that explains the different terms. Obviously, you've got lock picking, you know what that does, pickpocketing. There's a crafting system to put together like armor and weapons and things of that nature. And then there's a medicine system that allows you to craft potions. So all the usual suspects, the type of skills that you would expect in this type of game, should be really, really cool to play with. Next up, we have distinctions, and this basically helps you to really, really hone in on the type of character you want to play. So for example, the first distinction is ample arbiter, and this allows you to really make yourself someone that's all about haggling and giving the best deal. So it's going to give you a bonus to persuasion and haggling, but you're going to take a penalty to all the different ways in which you could attack. And you'll notice at the bottom, it has a special attribute. Your character is obviously overweight. So I think it's really cool that it's not just buffs and bonuses. It's also going to change you physically in a way that's different from what you could get with just regular character creation, and in a way that's going to be noticeable in the world. And so there are multiple different distinctions that have something special about them. Level-headed leader is going to reduce a lot of your stats when it comes to offense. However, all of your party members are going to get a bonus, and they're going to get additional health points, and their damage threshold is going to increase as well. So you basically put everything into beefing up your party members. Brainy Beanpole is going to make you more intellectual and give you more crafting and medicine, but your personality is going to suffer, and you're going to be taller and slimmer than most other characters. So you can see this really, really allows you to hone in and say, okay, there's a very specific type of character I want to play, and I'm willing to take some of these penalties in order to be able to do that. Soul Survivor is here for those who prefer to solo games. Just really, really cool stuff. Again, I can't wait to be able to dive into this. After you choose your distinction, then you're able to select one ability from the list of weapon abilities that are available. Now, the cool thing about this is each section has multiple weapons that apply to it. So if we look at bladed weapons, it has daggers, swords, and two-handed swords. So you can get a high level in bladed weapons and then actually take abilities from multiple types of weapons in case you want to mix and match based upon the situation. Axes and blunt have mace, axe, and maul. Spears and halberds have spears and halberds. And then bows or ranged weapons have bows, crossbows, and throwing weapons. And then finally, I actually played as a martial artist because typically in these type of games, unarmed combat is very weak. So that's what I chose to specialize in. Absolutely fantastic. Had a great time. Of course, it was only a couple of hours in the demo, so who knows what the game will be like when it finally comes out. But I had a really, really great time just using my fist and pounding wolves into submission. It was absolutely great. This high kick has you run up and then try to do a kick that can potentially hit multiple enemies. Found it to be very effective and helped me to cross more of the area so that I could get to enemies faster. Cool stuff all around. But you could also play with brass knuckles if you wanted to, or you have stance. I didn't really dive into stance, so I'm not sure what that means, but it looks like maybe you can add stances onto either one of these play styles. And then finally, you could play with appearance. This has virtually no selections. There's no portraits available right now, and you can't really change the face very much. So you could just change the hair and then change the hair color to whatever you prefer, and change the skin tone a little bit, and then put in different hairstyles. But hopefully this is a section that will be more well-rounded by the time the full game comes out. And same with voice. There's only one voice, and it only allows you to play on normal difficulty, although it appears that there will be a hard difficulty and an Iron Man mode for those of you who are a sucker for pain and aggravation. So all the way around, I really, really like the character creation system. I think there's a lot of flexibility to create a really unique character compared to what you could do in other games, and I cannot wait to play around with it. Now, in case it wasn't already clear from the character creation system, there are no classes. So you don't have to worry about, oh, I selected a particular class at the beginning of the game, and that's going to limit what I am or am not able to do. Everything is based upon your skill point selection and your attributes. So you could just add more points into specific areas that you'd like to be more skilled in. And you'll have a lot of flexibility throughout the game to mold your character in whatever way you see fit. You are able in combat to switch back and forth between turn-based and real-time with pause. And I know that's going to be a big deal for a lot of you, giving me that Wrath of the Righteous vibes. Really, really cool stuff. There aren't very many games that give you this type of flexibility. Of course, again, this is only the demo, so it remains to be seen how seamless and easy it's going to be to switch back and forth in the full game, but it seems like that's what they're going for, and it's definitely nice that the option is supposed to be there. And then finally, what Atom RPG have said regarding the game is that it's going to be a vast, non-linear world with unique NPCs and multi-solution quests. So they want to make sure the quests are set up where no matter what type of character you've created, you're going to be able to complete the vast majority of quests in the game. So that almost gives me kind of Deus Ex vibes. I'm really looking forward to seeing how that's going to work out. From what I played in the demo, the areas seem extremely dense. When I went to the first town, it seemed like everywhere I walked, there was another door to walk in, another person to talk to, and even people who don't directly have quests, they still have full dialogue trees, and they can tell you more about people who have quests. And you get XP just from learning about different people and different things going on in the world. So you can get experience points from talking to someone who doesn't actually have a quest. Very, very cool. This game really rewards you for taking the time to talk to everyone and trying to explore as much as you can. I'm very excited about it. It looks good. It looks good to me. It looks like exactly the type of game I like to play. Makes me wonder if maybe I should try and go ahead and spin up Atom sometime this year. I'll probably wait until they give a release date for when this game is going to come out, and then maybe sometime around then we'll spin up Atom in a live stream and I'll play it for a while, see if it's my kind of game. To be honest, I avoided it because I'm not really as high on Fallout as a lot of you are. I'm not big on the whole apocalyptic world, desert, radiation, everything. That's not really my thing. To be honest with you, some of those Fallout games, at least the Bethesda games, I never played the classic ones, but the Bethesda and even New Vegas to a lesser extent, the fact that it's always out in the desert just at some point makes everything look kind of bland. It makes everything look the same all the time, and that gets old in a 100-hour game. So saying that something was just like Fallout didn't really motivate me to play Atom, but playing through this and seeing what the Atom team is kind of capable of makes me definitely more curious about what they did with Atom RPG. So we'll see. But anyway, hopefully you all enjoyed this look at Swordhaven Conspiracy. I'll definitely continue to track this game, and once it comes out or once a beta is released, we'll be all over it, playing it and getting a better idea for what the Atom team has come up with. So leave me a comment down below. Let me know. Are you interested in this? Do you plan to support? Are you waiting for more information? Have you already decided you don't want to play this or that you do? Looking forward to hearing your feedback. And as always, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.